I am so glad that age has not mellowed Mel Gibson. He is not mellowed. So we had a very long conversation because we saw The Handmaiden first, then we went across town to see Hacksaw Ridge. So we had this very long conversation afterwards. I was talking about tone, and the first thing that really struck me about Hacksaw Ridge was the transition from stateside to the war scenes. And to me, one of the best transitions, I think, is The Deer Hunter, personally. That's just quite when they get to the action in Vietnam, that's quite a change of pace.
Because they're like in a bar and they're playing that very George Dzunza is playing that very melancholy piece at the piano.
Yeah.
He's got one of the hardest names to say.
But you did it so well, though. You did it so well, though. I mean,
thanks.
Wow. I mean,
Dzunza.
Okay.
But
the new day.
Yeah, that is a great transition.
Okay, so here I would say the first movie I think of actually is Hamburger Hill for some reason. I don't know why, I just do, because I thought that was but forget that. I mean, once we get to Japan, once we get to the war, oh my God, Mel is. I just know because he wasn't acting in this one. He was having a field day with this. No, in this scene, I want to show that. No, can we show more? No, let's go
more
further.
More guts.
Yeah. Oh, but here's the thing. It's so well done, though. I really was kind of just blown away by, we say what you will about him as a person. As a director, he paid attention to all those guys. He like Peter Weir and George Miller. He really did pay attention to those guys when he was on the set. There's no doubt about that. But he is obsessed with blood and guts and like this torture. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This guy has really never met a gore scene he didn't like.
He digs it.
He really does. But I think he's had quite a year between this and I think Bloodfather. As far as his acting goes, this is like for him just an awesome year. There's no doubt about that. And
the reviews have been good for Hacksaw Ridge. I mean, they've been generally good, particularly about the war sequences. But the stateside sequences haven't been so great.
Well, I'd like to. All right. It combines this movie, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Combines all the things that he is interested in his, especially in this part of his life, his faith and violence. He seems they go hand in hand almost with him. I think I have seen, because when I worked at a captioning company for a number of years, so we captioned a lot of faith-based movies, and the problem with those movies is they get so wound up in the dogma, there's no movie. You just feel like it's a sermon, basically. I don't feel like that with him. He understands that. I don't feel like we're getting a sermon, although there are times in the first half of this movie where I do feel like it's creeping to that, but as soon as it does, he pulls back. Even he knows that, hey, I need to, I'm making a movie. I want to make a movie for everybody. I don't want to, there's better ways to do this. And I think he does that. And I think one of the reasons that it works so well is because the person he's using, the actor, is Andrew Garfield, does a first-rate job. I mean, really, just a great performance.
Andrew Garfield really, I mean, like I said last week, it would have been easy to make this character come across like Jim Neighbors, like a real dork. But he's not overly earnest. He's very authentically kind of sweet and full of conviction, and so it's a real tough balancing act, and the movie itself is too, because if you push something too hard in one direction, it comes across as preachy, or in another direction, it comes across as inauthentic, and I think Mel Gibson finds a great balance between everything. The one thing that isn't balanced in the movie for me is Vince Vaughn, because like I said last week, while I thought his first scene was hysterical, we're supposed to take him seriously after that part, and I think he would have been much better served if from the very beginning it was established that this was a dramatic performance that he was giving.
Right. Because he comes across
so
as
he had some
relief.
command. Yeah.
he does come across as a comic relief. I mean, I even turned to my mom last night and said, "How the hell did we win World War II if Vince Vaughn was there? How the hell could we have won? I mean, come on. I mean, no, I made it was really funny because I went to go see it at the ArcLight. It was almost sold out. There was like these girls in back of us who just every scene just was either laughing or gasping. I mean, I couldn't, one extreme or the other. I mean, they were their own movie in many ways. But yeah, I agree with you. Vince Vaughn is like that first scene. You burst out laughing. I think at times at his performance. There's no doubt about that.
It's not Oscar kind of movie, but don't you agree, Jerry? I mean, if you saw it at ArcLight, I bet the sound was really good. Don't you agree that the sound in that movie is probably Oscar-worthy? Because the sound of the bullets alone were just extraordinary.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no, absolutely. The sound is, I would have to say, some of the best sound work this year, without it so far, that I've seen so far. But I do want to ask you guys something, because this is something with this film and with any war film, that tone and style is a big thing. And I guess the message about war, because you do watch the second half and you do and then I get into, had a very long talk about Kubrick after the movie and about Full Metal Jacket and Paths of Glory. And I kind of miss those conversations, because when we went to go see Full Metal Jacket, I remember we had a very long talk about war movies after that, and I missed that. But I guess what I'm saying there's depending who the director is, there's a statement being made. With Kubrick, it's just the whole insanity of war in both of those movies, the foolishness and just the pointlessness. Is there anything there in this movie, Jamie, you think that he's saying, or is there really no subtext? I'm thinking there's really no subtext almost in that regard.
Well, I think that a lot of movies that are made about war can be read as anti-war.
Right.
And Mel Gibson has said that, the movie is anti-war. And I'm thinking of war movies, and I'm thinking to myself, well, which ones are, like, pro-war? I mean, I guess maybe you could interpret some Rambos and some old John Waynes as pro-war.
Yeah, I mean, the Green Berets is certainly a pro-war movie.
But I think generally our culture views a war film as being inherently anti-war, unless you're so gung-ho that you bring your own beliefs to any movie, I'm sure. But but the dilemma is, and Kubrick addressed this in an interview he did to promote Full Metal Jacket, just the inherent nature of cinema. When you put war on screen, and war is very photogenic, you can't help but kind of sensationalize it. It's almost unavoidable, because explosions are pretty and exciting and that kind of thing.
Right.
And there's the balletic quality to a lot of warfare movies, including this one. And the flamethrowers and everything. So, I mean, that's a dilemma that I'm not sure how you avert.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I was just curious because I'm still thinking about the movie because I'm just trying to think of it. I mean, we've never seen a war. I mean, this is there. It reminds me. There are sequences that remind me of Braveheart, obviously, in a very good way. I don't mean that as a slight at all.
And that's kind of a pro-war thing. I mean, I think whether a movie feels pro-war or anti-war really depends on the objectives that the company that you're following or whatever has.
Right.
So, I mean, if you've got a movie like Wake Island or 30 Seconds Over Tokyo, where the objective is to crush an evil empire that's after you, or after America at least, then we're seen as the good guys in the war, World War II. When you have that, it feels pro-war. But then, obviously, after Vietnam, kind of ruined our track record, you know,
right.
those type of stories became more prevalent of like the sort of futility of it.
Right.
So I would imagine that while this, you know, might have some pro-war, some anti-war things in it, it's probably more of a pro-war movie.
No, I don't know. No.
Well, no, I mean, there's a distinction here. I mean, the movie isn't pro-war. The movie is pro-military. Pro-military.
Okay, that's all right. I'll go.
And that's a difference. I mean, you have to honor the sacrifices of those that served us.
Right.
But you can still take a view of this war. This war was just horrendous, and it destroyed a lot of youth, and you know. So, in that sense, that's what the movie. And by the way, I mean the same thing can be said of most movies made about war nowadays, including something like Avatar. I mean, James Cameron is throughout his career, he's shown great respect for the military, which makes it, because his family is a military family,
right?
Which makes it really ironic that he wrote Rambo 2, which is the movie that most people find the most distressing. All the veterans find that movie the most distressing out of all of them.
Right. What I thought grounded it, and what I don't think it is pro-war, is I thought the father, Hugo Weaving's character, and his recollections of World War I thought grounded the film in. I mean, you see through him, and very much that you see in also in Spielberg's War Horse with the father, and I forget the very famous actor plays his father in that movie, who was a veteran of the Boer War, and those reminiscences about just how the brutality, and especially, but here you're looking at, even from an American point of view, the brutality of the First World War. While it was brutal for us, it was nothing compared to the Europeans and the British, which decimated generations of men. But I thought that was a great touch, and I thought Hugo Weaving did a really good job. I actually thought all the performances in the movie were, but I was really touched the scene where he goes to the base. Yes. I was really I nearly broke out into tears when he showed up in the courtroom. I mean, it was just
the movie has good, and Mel Gibson's always had a penchant for this. The movie has good sentimentality in it.
Yes.
Like the good kind. The kind that is honestly earned. Yeah. So.
No, it's a good movie. It's worthwhile seeing. I do think it's definitely worthwhile seeing.
I just thought it would be funny if they just started playing Heartbreak Ridge in the theater instead.
Oh, man. That's good, Jamie. I like that. That's good.